10 a.m. Ricard, Dionisio, and Javier finished their gear check and went into the water. A fourth teammate stayed up on the boat. Surface support, on standby for emergencies. Here's the thing. None of these three divers had any cave diving certification, not one. They only held basic open water certs. That's like learning how to swim, then jumping straight into deep sea danger. The three of them reached the tourist section of Cova del Agua. The passage was wide, smooth, cave walls covered in saltwater erosion patterns and natural stalactites. Visibility underwater was clean and clear. They drifted along the wall and reached the 98-foot safety zone. That's the official limit for recreational diving. Another 39 feet ahead was the 138-foot right-angle turn. Past that turn, unknown territory, pure danger. That's when Javier signaled with his hands. He told them, "Don't go any further." He said he'd wait inside the 98-foot safety zone for 20 minutes. If they didn't come back within those 20 minutes, he'd surface alone. Ricard and Dionisio were confident. They flashed an OK sign and swam forward. They cleared the 138-foot turn and pushed into the unknown. Their fins kicked up the thick silt on the cave floor. Within seconds, the entire area went black. Pitch black. Zero visibility. They couldn't see the walls. They couldn't see each other. The sudden change sent them into pure panic. Their breathing went out of control. Their air tanks started draining fast. What used to be a wide tunnel narrowed sharply. At the tightest point, only about 31 inches wide. Just enough for one person to squeeze through sideways. Lost. Panicked. They swam in random directions, completely disoriented. The most important survival tool in cave diving? A guideline. They didn't bring one. They didn't even know they needed one. Back at the safety zone, Javier had hit the time limit. All he could see was clouds of silt rising from deeper in the cave. He knew immediately. Something had gone wrong, but he had no cave rescue experience, no proper gear. If he went in, he'd get trapped too. He had no choice. He swam back up, got on the boat. Javier called for help. Local police forwarded the case to the GS underwater rescue team. While rescue was racing to the scene, the two trapped divers were already running out of hope. They thrashed through the dark, muddy water, their bodies slamming into sharp rock. Their wetsuits got torn in multiple places. They fought through the tight gap. And then they found something. A massive open chamber, and above it, an air pocket, sealed off above the waterline. They pushed up with the last of their strength, broke the surface, ripped off their masks, sucked in air. The chamber measured about 23.6 feet long, 13.5 feet wide. Average ceiling height around 3.9 feet. Total air volume around 1,236 cubic feet. Under normal breathing, that's enough to keep two grown men alive for over 24 hours. They thought they'd found a safe haven. They thought they'd beaten the drowning. They even pulled out an underwater camera and took photos. But they completely missed the deadliest problem with that air pocket. It was sealed. No airflow, no circulation, nothing in, nothing out. In a sealed space, every breath burns oxygen and dumps CO2 into the air. And CO2 buildup kills faster than oxygen loss. As the minutes ticked by, oxygen levels dropped. CO2 levels climbed. Ricard was 63. Older. The panic from earlier had never really worn off. His body was producing CO2 faster. About 7 hours into the air pocket, CO2 levels passed the 7% lethal threshold. Ricard suddenly went into full-body convulsions. Lost consciousness. His body slowly sank into the water. Dionisio tried over and over to pull him back to the surface of the air pocket. But every time, Ricard slipped back under. The cold water was draining his strength. Ricard was wearing full dive gear. Over 175 pounds of weight. Dionisio had nothing left. Meanwhile, the GS dive rescue team arrived on scene. After full prep, they began their descent. First priority, lay a guideline through the murky water. Mark a safe path in and out. But once they hit the 138-foot turn, the silt was still everywhere. Visibility was basically zero. To avoid getting trapped themselves, they had to abort. Everyone turned back. The next morning, after a night of natural sediment settling, visibility recovered to about 20 feet. A larger team of professional cave divers was assembled. Surface support stood by. 8 a.m. Rescue went back in. They followed the guideline from the day before. Moved fast. 1 hour later, they made it through the tight gap and reached the deepest part of the cave, the underground lake. They found the air pocket. They found Dionisio, curled up against the rock wall, and Ricard, floating in the water. Dionisio had been trapped for over 24 hours. To save energy and air, he'd stayed completely still, curled up, frozen in place. He was suffering from severe hypothermia, dehydration, and the entire time he was being slowly poisoned by CO2. The long exposure had wrecked his mind. He was hallucinating. When the rescue team approached him, he fought back. He refused to leave the air pocket. He lost control. He attacked the rescuers who got close. He wouldn't cooperate. To stop him from falling into the freezing water, the team paused the rescue. They radioed command. Command got in touch with one of Dionisio's close diver friends, someone he trusted, got him into the water to talk him down. Slowly, Dionisio calmed down. He finally agreed to come up. 3:42 p.m. He broke the surface. He was rushed straight to the hospital ICU. One day later, the team recovered Ricard's body. The final report came out. Ricard's cause of death, acute hypercapnia. CO2 poisoning. Drowning was ruled out. Decompression sickness was ruled out. Officials also addressed the rumors going around, the ones accusing Dionisio of letting his friend die. The dive computer data told the truth. Dionisio had tried to save Ricard, twice. The air pocket had plenty of space. There was no fight over air, no evidence of foul play. None. Losing his friend left him buried in grief and guilt. In that pitch-black sealed chamber, he had given everything he had. Today, he doesn't respond to the rumors anymore. He just wants the dead to rest in peace, and a little quiet. For himself, and for the family Ricard left behind.